Hello everybody and welcome back to some of Star Citizen's finest racing. Today we've got Black Star Underground's takeover of the oil rig just outside Lorville on planet Hurston here in the Stanton system. And this is one of the newest races as part of XGR's Community Exhibition Racing program. You might know me, my name's Splen Shepard, I'm one of the racers of Star Citizen, but I'm not alone in the booth today, I'm joined by the one and only Cyber Fox.
Thank you, Splen. Yes, this race promises to be a real showcase of skill from the most talented racers in the verse. This track will challenge even these seasoned pilots, and they'll have to keep their wits about them. The track was put together by Billboy, and his track guide videos have already had a nearly combined 3,000 views, which goes to show just how competitive these races are.
And here we are at the start line. We've got 16 on the grid, and a few more in overflow for a total of 22 racers today, and the lights are out, away they go, the racers are off. We've got Boltok at pole position, and here they are coming around the dive, the first turn in the oil rig where they're coming around that dangerous crane. You can see these racers going into this tight turn here down into cold vent. Billboy is taken first. The rest of the grid just behind him, though. Still no time for separation yet as this race is just underway, going down Sunset Straight and coming up to Roughneck now. Billboy in the lead, and Cyberfox, how are we looking here with the start of heat number 1?
That was an incredibly clean start to the race. I was surprised to have seen no collisions through cold vent, and I don't expect that sort of luck to continue. The racers are flying wide open now, with Billboy taking an early lead, Boltok at his heels, followed closely by Fresh, and we can see this tense battle evolve as we hop aboard his racer cam, moving down to Chainhand. This stretch of track is no joke, with incredible precision needed.
That's right. Okay, so here they are coming up to Nino's resignation. Billboy still on point. Oh, and we got a DNF from Sagudi. He's out. Billboy, meanwhile, still in first place, coming along to Corkscrew, one of the most dangerous places in the track, in my opinion. Fox, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this corner has certainly earned its name. With such tight twists, the pilots have to fight both forward and lateral Gs, all while trying their best not to black out.
That's true, yeah, and you can see here as a certain racer I know pretty well, Splen having some trouble.
It's certainly easy to overdo it on such a technical maneuver, no matter how experienced the pilot or how long they've practiced, and I must say I admire this approach. Going back to the start of the turn like that to continue is incredibly sportsmanlike and great to see as a racing fan. I have a feeling this will be one of many similar incidents.
Yep, and you can see I'm struggling here. I've lost some geometry, and then that's it for me, right? I'm out. DNF for Splen. Meanwhile, coming up over here, we're taking a look at what looks like somebody else had lost it there at Corkscrew. That was Dude 3D. He's out with a DNF. We're at lap 2 now. Kyrexy pulling ahead of Billboy. Now, Kyrexy, I believe, was billed at third place overall for the starting grid, with Billboy in second. So he's right up there where he is expected to be. We got Fresh there in fourth place. Those 4 racers plus Splen probably are favorites for winning today.
Going by the qualifying times, I'd have to agree. The competition was extremely fierce, with racers one-upping each other day after day, leading right up to the cutoff date.
That's right, yeah, quite literally. Last-minute times submitted, but we definitely had Boltok in front with his outrageous time, and Billboy actually tying him for first place, but since Boltok had it first, Boltok is pole position. Meanwhile, looks like Billboy's getting up for lap number 3, and here comes Wintersoul. Hitting over at Stacks and going down. Unfortunate for him. Billboy, meanwhile, at Corkscrew at the end of lap number 2, and getting ready to turn over at Ironsides, fighting for position. It looks like with Kyrexy still neck and neck. And here they go, getting started for lap number 3. Racers flipping on their top sides, going 180 for the dive. Meanwhile, playing Fox. Now he's coming up through Ironsides, starting lap number 3. So we've got at least our top 5 now in lap number 3. Fox, what are your thoughts so far?
Our top racers have been extending their lead over the rest of the pack for the first 2 laps, importantly keeping it clean and keeping their nerve. We've seen how easy it is for one small inaccuracy to take its toll, as racers are forced to squeeze themselves between a flurry of narrow passages and around sharp, unforgiving corners.
Still, Billboy and Kyrexy fighting, followed by, it looks like Fresh, and then playing Fox in fourth. And Billboy and Kyrexy, looks like the collision, not sure who made it out or did. Looks like Billboy is out in the water. Kyrexy now in first place. Don't know what kind of damage he has, but he now has the first place position, is looking like the favorite to win this, unless he has some serious damage. Fresh has an opportunity here to catch up. Now closing the gap, coming around Foreman's office, going up through the stacks and down to Chainhand.
Chainhand has got to be one of the most technical parts of the race, because threading the needle too fine between the cranes can result in some desync that can catch the racers out. You don't want to get too close, but you also don't have much choice.
That's right, yeah, you don't want it. You can go wider if you want. That's one of the cool skill checks about Chainhand. You can go wider than the chains and still be legal, but obviously it's not going to be a straighter line. It will cut the time. Meanwhile, it looks like we have a back marker here at Samtastic. Kyrexy's got to get past. Fresh right behind him. Wrapping up the end of lap number 3 here. Who's going to take first? Kyrexy now going over to Ironsides. Meanwhile, we have our 3rd and 4th place positions here. Looks like Osash fighting with Speedweed, perhaps.
You can see Speedweed's flight instruments going crazy, and it looks like he's conserved his boost to have just enough to push out of the maneuver. Front runners here crossing the line with some back markers between.
Here we go, Speedweed going around Ironsides. Trying to close that gap with Osash's, but it's a little bit too little, too late, as these two XGR racers close out lap number 3, and we finalize heat number 1's finishing results. You can see we have some final racers here just making their way through. You know, obviously we have a good mix of new and old racers, so there's going to be some gap between first and last place. And here's our results for heat number 1. We've got Kyrexy in first. Just squeezing it out after a collision with Billboy, unfortunately, who took a little dip in the water. Not a good thing for your ship to do here in Star Citizen. That's an instant explosion. Fresh pulling up into 2nd place. It looks like Boltok got knocked out as well, down there in 17th with the DNF after lap number 1. Playing Fox, who was 5th and 4th, bringing up 3rd place. Just keeping it together is the name of the game here at the oil rig. A very dangerous track, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. We've had some early upsets here from Billboy, Boltok and Splen. All top racers with less than a second between them in their qualifying times on SCR. So it goes to show just how challenging this track is.
That's true. And no, I don't want to rely on the old adage of slow and steady, but here is a case where, you know, keeping it consistent, keeping it safe goes a really long way in such a short, brutal, short-circuit track. And after a little bit of respawning and getting everything back together, we've got our racers on the grid here for heat number 2, and there they go. And again, the positioning of the grid will stay the same for every race today based on qualifying time. So we'll have Boltok in front. Oh, we have an early collision. Kyrexy's out. Splen is out. They collided. We've got Billboy in front still with Boltok behind, and the racers are starting to cluster up here a little bit. We got Osash's closer to the front of the pack this time. Fresh where he belongs, around 3rd or 2nd place. And now here we go around the Sunset Straight, starting off the mid part of the lap.
Smooth exits here, these racers seemingly unfazed by the chaos at the start line.
And there the racers go around Roughneck with Billboy at the front of the pack, Fresh closely behind, and then Boltok in 3rd place.
We've got a close battle here between Osash's Playing Fox and Sagudi as they duke it out and swing their ships through stacks for 4th place on approach to Chain Hand, a notoriously deadly part of the race.
That's right, but like we talked about at the end of heat number 1, sometimes staying consistent might be the name of the game. Looks like we had a collision there. Not sure. We're going to have to replay here. Yeah, we're not sure what happened and who's going to be able to pull out of this in time. They got to get back on track, though. They want to minimize the amount of time lost. Segudi's now in 4th place. Oh, and he's out! He hits the top of Nino's Resignation. We've got Osash struggling here. Is he going to make it? Oh, no, I don't know. He might have the DNF. Meanwhile, there's battle for 2nd place here between Boltok and Fresh, two racers who are close on the time trial boards on many tracks. Billboy in front, still leading the pack. We'll see what happens here. Fox, what's our status?
I'm impressed by the precision of these races. They've stayed so incredibly tight together, keeping the pressure and showing how well they know the best line. Oh, Boltok and Fresh colliding.
There they go. Looks like, Fresh is DNF. Boltok spinning out of control. We'll see if he can hold it together, at least get some kind of placement in the final results. We've got Torch Nova in 9th place now, and he's starting heat number 2 here.
On his way down through Splash to Cold Vent, we can see him checking his rear view to make sure that he doesn't get involved in a collision. It can be quite tricky though, with the twists and turns regularly disorienting the racers.
It takes a lot of practice for these racers to know the track by heart.
Another DNF, Connor Risnick going down. I wonder how Boltok's getting on.
Okay, yep, we don't know where he is exactly right now, but he's going to have a lot of work to do if he wants to get his position back. Looks like Connor Risnick DNF'd over Nino's Resignation. He's out. The gap is definitely widening here. You can see a lot of empty space behind Billboy. It looks like wide open spaces. If he could just keep it safe and together, he has a sure shot for 1st place for heat number 2.
With Billboy not finishing the first heat, it would go a long way to solidifying a place on the scoreboard. Billboy Chain Hand now on approach to Nino's Resignation, this stretch to Corkscrew having taken out so many races already.
Yeah, and I could say from experience during the time trials, the Chain Hand was definitely pretty much a cemetery for a lot of racers. But the choke here and Corkscrew, of course, are no joke. That's probably the 2nd most dangerous place in the track, and followed by Splashdown, where a lot of tracks were lost to the waves.
Ordito nearly redding out, he's going so fast, and yet an overtake by Boltok, sliding in underneath and through the choke. Notorious for his time trial expertise, he's a firm contender to chase down Billboy.
And Torch Nova and Lagos are DNF. Not sure if there was a collision, but they are out for this race. Billboy is now in lap number 3. You could see him there coming around the bend. The sun is starting to set here at Lorville, getting a little bit darker. Speedweed and Kill Redbeard here fighting for 5th place along with Wintersoul. It's going to be tight all the way to the end, and it looks like they're just about to get started here on lap number 3. Again, that is a huge gap between Billboy and these 5th place racers. You can see how much it's widened just from the amount of skill Billboy has as well as the practice, and a lot of the racers in the in-between just blowing up.
We said it from the start, just as deadly as advertised. This heat has only 11 races remaining.
Here they go. Bujinski looks like a back marker for Billboy is going to have to safely pass that. There he goes. This is Wintersoul here in 7th place, going around Cold Vent, getting ready for Sunset Straight here in the 3rd lap. Looking pretty clean for him. That's a lot of points on the board. Again, don't have to get for it. Oh, no, he got a little close there and he's out. I spoke too soon. But again, even if you're taking 7th, 6th, 5th place, those are points on the board. You don't want a DNF. That's the worst. You get no points on the board. So you have to play conservatively sometimes.
Billboy coming up on Osashis, a back marker holding 10th place. Billboy showing great form around Corkscrew.
Yeah, indeed. Billboy looking like he's taking Corkscrew a little bit slower, and why not? When you've got that leadership economy to spend, it's good to use it in places that are going to be advantageous. Coming around the last turn for Ironsides, heading up to the start-finish, and there he goes. Billboy, our winner of heat number 2.
From not finishing the last heat to finishing first in this one, he salvaged a good chance to reach the top of the leaderboard. Ozash is here coming through Ironsides up to the line and looking like he's taken some damage.
Yeah, I mean, he's limping through and good for him. Again, points on the board if you can take it. And the Razor's one of those ships that can take a couple hits compared to some of the more meta Kruger ships. So it does have its advantages here having those disposable wing parts.
Speedweed crossing the line in 5th, preceded by Playing Fox in 4th and Ordito securing 3rd.
Osash is here, yeah, still unable to keep control here. He's going to have to repair after the race. He might be ditching a ship. Yeah, it looks like he is. And there he goes.
We've got Secretus crossing the line in 7th, followed by Dubblunt to close off the race.
All right, so that's it for heat number 2. Here is our final results. We've got Billboy in 1st place, followed by Boltok. Boltok did take that 2nd place back. Good for him, getting back in control after that collision near Chainhand. And then Ordito taking the 3rd place spot, maybe by luck, but definitely he had the skill to keep things together. Good for him. And then the rest of our grid filled out with Playing Fox, Speedweed, Kill Redbeard, Sack, Dubblunt, Osashes, and the rest. 10 and below, a lot of them DNFs, unfortunately. And Osash is our last DNF we saw there at the end. Just kind of unable to keep control of the ship. Looks like he just had to ditch it.
And we can see just how competitive this heat was, with racers posting times within a second of each other. Boltok's fastest lap at 1:19 was a whole second faster than Billboy's, confirming his careful pace. Fastest laps this heat held by Secretus and Dubblunt.
Very nice. All right. So again, these racers are now starting to get warmed up. They're feeling the track a little better. Things get pretty competitive and pretty hot here for the remaining heats and, of course, the main events coming up later. So let's get back into it and see what happens for heat number 3. All right, we're lined up for heat number 3. We've got our grid reestablished again using the same grid throughout the day. This is the qualifying starts. Boltok in front, Billboy behind. Let's see if they can take this a little better at the start. Lights are out. Billboy, you can see, with a clear advantage. Getting off the track easy, but Boltok might have some strategy in mind when it comes to slowing down at the start.
It's probably against the nature of any of these races to slow down, but you're right, strategy is a key component here.
And yeah, Boltok and Kyrexy fighting it out for 2nd place now, with Billboy taking the lead once again. Predictable positions for the front so far, but this race has only just begun. Everyone's got to be careful here through Cold Vent. Now the racers, you can see those beautiful 90-degree turns over the water, coming around for Sunset Straight, and getting ready for all the turny parts of this race.
On board with Osashis here, having to put up with party markers all over the place.
A lot of times those are obstructions. You got to work with it. It's unfortunate, but right now your HUD and your UI sort of work against you sometimes, especially when there's low visibility. You got to really sort of have some muscle memory to know where these turns are. Here's Seguti in 7th place, trying to make up for that early DNF in heat number 1. Oh, looks like Playing Fox is out with a DNF. He was in 4th place. Oh, and Seguti couldn't hold it together. You saw those frame drops and then the lag experience from the explosions. Unbelievable.
The leaders of the pack still in close proximity there, with the top 4 all breathing down each other's necks.
Yeah, so we still have a predictable starting 4 there with the top qualifiers of the race, but here we have Osash is taking it a little bit slower. Not sure if he's damaged, but you know what? Again, getting those points on the board can mean podium position if you take it. Oh, and there we have a DNF right in front of Osash. He's just barely avoiding that. And not having his shields is sort of a detriment for explosions. If somebody blows up too close to you, it could cost you. So there is a thing to consider here. A lot of racers have some thought to do before the race. Do they take the shields and the extra weight? Oh, and there goes Sacratus and Torch. They're out. Both DNF'd. Wow. As I was saying, you have to choose if you want the shields or not. If you want them, it's going to be a little extra late, but you might be safest.
We've got Splen coming out of Cold Vent and through to Sunset Straight, his nose not moving from that center TVI. Going wide for Roughneck, which is the correct strategy, turning late to get a good line for Foreman's office. You can see Fresh just ahead with Splen reeling him in meter by meter, trying to close that gap.
We got Billboy in front, taking first place, Kyrexy in second this time with Fresh in third, Splen in fourth, and Boltok in fifth. And there goes Billboy up and over Nino's Resignation. A really tough, high G turn, and then going down to the choke where things get really dangerous.
Looks like Splen and Boltok there really battling it out for fourth place as they do just that, diving down into the choke and swooping between the geometry. Splen going around Corkscrew, look at those G-forces, closing into tunnel vision but keeping conscious.
Billboy taking a turn around Ironsides, getting ready for the final lap here.
We can see him inverting his razor, getting ready to put his vertical thrusters to good use across the line.
Going around the dive, diving across that crane, keeping it not too tight but not too loose. It's a fine balance for how to spend that leadership economy. And then doing that hard right into Cold Vent. Where he goes down the straight.
We can see that he's extended his lead by a wide margin, the rest of the grid falling further behind, and Billboy squeezing every second out of each lap.
Yeah, that's right. His skill and practice definitely showing themselves here today. Looks like second and third place are having a fight right behind him, Kyrexy and Fresh, and then Splen having a safe fourth place. Boltok having fallen behind, might have had some problems with obstacles, might have hit something, who knows. A lot of things could happen in the race.
Fresh and Kyrexy in close competition for second place. I'd say it's as much a battle of nerves as anything else when competing on such a ruthless track. The battles are close and confined around every turn.
That's right, and especially in the final lap here, you have to, if you want to make your moves, you got to do it soon, so, it could add to the stress, the nerves. Definitely a lot of heart rate happening here, in the typical short circuit race, and this is no exception.
You can see Fresh and Kyrexy still neck and neck, battling it out as Splen dives down towards choke.
And there's Billboy going around to Ironsides, wrapping up heat number 3. It looks like he's going to have a second first place win in these heats, which is just going to be awesome for his score at the end. And there he goes, crossing the start finish. Looks like, Fresh just edging out Kyrexy for second place, and then Splen bringing out fourth.
Boltok right behind, securing fifth, followed by Speedweed, who will take sixth. The rest of the grid completing their final turns now, and with Audito looking to complete in seventh and Lagos in eighth.
You can see how Sash is here going through the choke, getting ready for Corkscrew, taking it safe and easy. Hey, he's on the board, he's not a DNF. That means a lot when you have a total of 8 races on the day. Here we got Audito crossing that Ironsides, building up those G-forces, but now is a good time to let it all out. Crossing that finish line at the end of heat number 3. The remainder of our racers will get to the finish line, and we'll see where our positions end up for this heat. All right, Fox, what are your thoughts so far with 3 heats out of the way?
The races appear to be getting more comfortable now that they've warmed up. I expect these battles to continue though, and I'm impressed by the precision and stamina we've seen up to this point.
And here's our results for heat number 3. We've got Billboy in front with Fresh taking the second place this time, followed by Kyrexy in third, and Splen in fourth. Splen finally getting on the board after a couple of rough DNFs. Here we are, and the lights are out, and away they go. Racers going off the start again. Boltok not really hitting the boost coming off that start, but that's okay. Again, playing it safe has its merits here. We've got DJ, AT, Geek, and Dub colliding right at the start line. They're both out, unfortunately. We really need to see more points on the board from some of these back racers. Meanwhile, we've got a real cluster of racers. You can see that party marker soup here in Cold Vent as they get ready. We got some collisions there. A near miss with Audito here. This is Speedweed's point of view. Again, here's the replay. This is dangerous stuff here, racing with these razors right on top of each other. It's crazy. Maybe the server gods were on Speedweed's side, but I'm sure he is trying to catch his breath now. Meanwhile, we're back on the track here with the racers going down Sunset Straight. Billboy leading the pack once again for 3 heats in a row, coming through Roughneck and going down to Foreman's office.
Boltok now in second place is finally having some luck here as Splen and Kyrexy battle it out for third, and Playing Fox and Fresh hot on their heels looking to secure fifth. There's Ashes and Kill Redbeard right behind them.
We got Whistle here in 12th, back of the pack, but anything could happen. He's playing it safe. Hopefully he doesn't have as many collisions as he did before. And you can see he's taking that outer line here with chain hands. So staying away from the dangerous hanging down chains. But he missed the third one, and he's out with a DNF. Not able to hold it together exactly. And here's the racers going up right, what would have been right after that chain for Vintersol. And this is Nino's Resignation. Up and down through the choke. You can see more explosions off to the side. Samtastic is out. Didn't make it through the deadly chain hands.
The leaders are speeding across the start-finish line now, still clustered closely together, competing for those pole positions as they throw themselves around the crane at the back for dive and splash.
Billboy pulling ahead though, coming down. He had a really good lap start going around the dive. He definitely has that down to a science, but anything could happen here. This is only the start of lap number 2 of 3.
Look how close the racers are now coming out of Cold Vent. Splen closing in on Boltok, trying to grab third place with Fresh right behind him.
This is unbelievably close racing. You could definitely smell the engines of the racers in front of you. Boltok with a little bit of an extension here now, going across Roughneck over to Foreman's office. Oh, we have an explosion! Looks like Boltok is spinning out of control, and I think Fresh is out as well. Kyrexi's DNF. Fresh is not clear of the track, and Splen is now in second place. Unbelievable. Playing Fox in the third position now. We'll see what happens if these racers are able to get back on track. Again, anything could happen. Still have a lap and a half to go. Billboy, meanwhile, coming down off of Nino's resignation, going through the choke, wrapping around here for the corkscrew. Deadly and dangerous, lots of G-forces here. Some racers have to slow down a lot to be able to keep it together. Splen looking to close the gap now, and Playing Fox enjoying that third place position. And our 4th, 5th, and 6th are Sigudi, Fresh, and Kill Redbeard. Looks like Fresh is finally back on the track, at least in 5th place. Maybe he can make up some ground, remains to be seen.
Splen trying to reduce the distance to Billboy as he comes through the smoky checkpoint, rolling around into position to take a precise turnaround dive and cutting it close.
Billboy, you can see in front, has about a second lead on Splen, maybe a little bit more, as he gets ready to go through Cold Vent. Splen here taking that tight 90-degree turn, avoiding that water, going down through Cold Vent as well. Getting ready to turn onto Sunset Straight, with a beautiful, almost setting sun indeed here at Lorville.
Billboy here, positioning himself really wide as he swings around Roughneck, aiming to come out of the turn in as straight a line as possible to get a good approach to Foreman's office.
Yeah, that turn at Roughneck's one of the most difficult ones on the course. Not a lot of frames of reference for racers to use to line up their turns, so it's really just kind of, muscle memory, a sense of smell, if you will. Some way these racers were able to predict and go, oh no, Playing Fox is out! He was clear and open in third place, but didn't make it, and Sigudi is out. Looks like he might have gotten some frame drops, might have been knocked by the explosion, so 3rd and 4th are out. So it looks like Fresh is taking 3rd place now. After all of that tumbling off the track, he's able to secure a podium spot for heat number 3 if he makes it through the rest of this race.
Fresh working his way up to corkscrew now, playing it safe and keeping his distance from the ironwork. Billboy crossing the line, maintaining pole position, and Splen, as you can see, right behind him.
Fresh going to Ironsides, ready to complete the last turn of this track and wrap up heat number 3. Meanwhile, we've got Lagos and Connor Risnick battling for 9th place, a little bit far behind, going through the choke now and getting ready for corkscrew. This is where it all matters. Look at them right on top of each other. Who's going to take it better? Who's going to manage their G-forces better? It's like Lagos just squeezing ahead of Connor. Connor has an opportunity now. If he has the boost fuel, will he make it? Connor pulling up, trying to get ahead, taking a little wider turn around Ironsides. Connor pushing. Lagos falling behind. They're both jamming on the boost, and I think the boost timing finally caught up to Connor as Lagos pulls just ahead. Meanwhile, we've got Cyprime in 11th place, coming up around Nino's resignation, flipping and burning. Some racers do a downturn there. Cyprime takes the quicker route with more acceleration, at least, flipping all the way around. Oh, but he's unable to dodge the famed pipe at the end of the choke. Torch Nova now taking 11th place. Going up to corkscrew, he's got a lot of G stress here. He's got to slow it down. Very smart here, mitigating those to side Gs instead. Pulling up and getting ready to finalize the final lap here and get out of the oil rig. Take a breather and get ready for heat number 5.
Those who've managed to complete a heat so far is about the same as those who haven't. These final moments, therefore, just as important as the rest to eke out any points they can manage.
Our last racers are wrapping up heat number 4 here. We can see Dude going across the start-finish there. It looks like everything is quiet here at the oil rig, and that is it for heat number 4.
And here we are with the results. We've got a promising number of finishers this race, with 13 across the line and only half of that with DNFs. One of the more successful heats for many.
Yeah, and that's good. And you know what? These racers are starting to finally get the hang of what it means to race with a whole pack on your tail. Taking it a little bit safer, taking their lines a little more conservatively. It's nice to see more people making it through the end of the race intact.
Familiar positions for the top finishers again, with Billboy in 1st, Splen in 2nd, Fresh in 3rd, and Kill Redbeard in 4th.
And wrapping up the back of the pack here, we've got Osashis in 5th, Ordito in 6th, Boltok falling back to 7th place, despite having a really good position at the beginning of that race. Speedweed in 8th, Lagos in 9th, Connor in 10th, Torched and Dude bringing up the very rear with 11th and 12th, but they got points on the board, and we'll see what happens here with the final heat before the main events. This is heat number 5. And our racers are lined up here for heat number 5. Same grid as before. Let's see what happens with our top 4. We've got right off the bat, looks like Boltok again, trying to take that back position. He's got something up his sleeve for sure. Whoa, Cyprime and DJ T-Geek are out, colliding off the line. Unfortunately, here's the replay. Ooh, unfortunate start for those two. Again, I don't think we've had a clean start to any of these heats so far. It has been brutal here.
You gotta hand it to them though, racing in the PU is a high-risk, high-reward event. All 22 pilots showing great determination. Oh, and it looks like Splen's just had a small collision, struggling, but can he recover and get back on track?
Barely escaping, but he's definitely going to have some work to do there. Connor and Sacratus are also DNF. Wow, a brutal start, brutal cold vent. Where are these racers going to be? Here they go, Billboy in first place again, going through Roughneck, jumping up through those vents and going down across Foreman. Boltok, second place again. Will he keep it this time? Kyrexy in third, and the rest of the pack very close behind on their heels. Fox, how are we looking?
We've got a tight cluster of racers in the middle of the pack. Lone Fox and Osashis scraping by each other, coming down to Chainhand, back and forth, reeling in Killbeard, and this is becoming a fierce battle.
Yeah, we got it. It's tight, not just in the front, but the middle of the pack has a lot to fight for too. Even if you want to try to get third place, second place, fourth place, these are all valid. They're all prize winning, at least up to third place. Ooh, it looks like Plain Fox just avoiding the geometry there, spinning out of control. No, he doesn't make it, crashing at the deadly corkscrew part of the track. Here's the replay from an outside perspective. See Plain Fox in the back there, just managing his G-forces incorrectly, couldn't quite hold it together, and he's out. Meanwhile, we've got Ordito fighting the G-forces. You can see the graying out on the screen. Oh, and blacking out just to a tiny tunnel. Is he out? Oh, I don't think he's gonna make it. Oh no, he's underwater, and Ordito has out. He is DNF'd. Meanwhile, you can see our top 4 for the start of lap number 2. Boltok and Billboy really fighting it out for first place. Kyrexy in third, and then we've got Fresh's point of view here, showing what it looks like from fourth place.
Fresh demonstrating the discipline and clean style of a time trialer, keeping his TDI centered and timing his boost to release on Sunset Straight.
That's right, and you can see he's using a strat some racers employ to keep their visibility high. He's got his cockpit open. In a real-life situation, this might be pretty detrimental to the racers, but here in Star Citizen, this is good. He's able to see better. He's certainly getting a fresh breeze, hopefully not breathing that Lorville air.
Anything to gain an edge. You can see him reeling in Kyrexy.
Things are getting tight there at the front for sure. Boltok falling a little bit behind Billboy now, and Kyrexy still in third place. Will there be any moves made? We've got about a lap and a half to go, and these guys... Oh no! Fresh didn't make it through the deadly chain hands, crashing on the second chain, and he's out. So now we've got Kyrexy in third, and who knows who's making up that fourth place spot. Don't know what happened to Splen. He's spun out of control. He might be back in the race. We'll have to see what happened there. And we've got Billboy trying to fight for that first place position now. Boltok having had enough, trying to take that first for once, or at least getting a second place finish. They're going around Ironsides and wrapping up lap number 2. Billboy having much more practice on the board, I will say that. Boltok was a little late to the qualifier, still managed to get a pretty nice time down, but not enough time maybe to get his muscle memory down.
Yeah, it's a different beast on such a busy track.
Billboy here at the beginning of lap number 3, going through cold vent now, looking behind him to see where Boltok is. You can see that rear view checking that you can bind to a keybind there. It looks like he's feeling pretty safe. Off screen, we've got Wintersoul, unfortunately, has DNF'd, and you've got the replay for you here. There he goes around corkscrew. We know how deadly it is. What's going to happen? Oh, is it G's? He can't keep it together. Looks like he's headed for a drink. Oh, or maybe to the side of the wall. Either way, he's out.
Billboy still secure in his lead position, but Kyrexy and Boltok are close behind in second and third. The pack still battling with Kill Redbeard and Splen in close contention.
Splen in fourth place then, trying to take that third place position from Redbeard. Boltok definitely looking to get on the podium for one heat at least. We'll see what happens. Billboy keeping that lead pretty wide. Uh-oh! He stopped, he hit something. What's happening?
What a lucky escape.
Oh, he's back on track here, but he's fallen down to third place. He got lucky. Maybe he blew off a canard or some part of the wings, but he's still intact, at least enough to race. Boltok, that means he's in first place. Boltok finally getting on the podium and possibly winning this. Billboy closing the gap, but Kyrexy Kyrexi's out. The pressure from being between Boltok and Billboy was just way too much for him. Billboy's moving back up to second despite stopping dead on the track.
Boltok bringing it home as he crosses the line, followed astonishingly closely by Billboy.
Wow.
After that drama, Splen secures third, Kill Redbeard fourth, and Ozash fifth. Speedweed, Lagos, and Torched also completing this deadly heat, though missing their party markers.
Yeah, roger that. And then we've got Dub bringing up ninth place for our finishers of this race. What a brutal and devastating heat number 5. You see now the sun's starting to set here, right outside of Lorville, and here's our results for heat number 5. We've got Boltok in first this time, finally, with a blazing lap of 1:18.66 as fastest with a total race time of 4:01. Billboy having a problem there in heat number 3 at chain hands, but I mean, if you're going to have a problem anywhere, that's the one to have. He brought it all home with a race time of 4:04, and then Splen getting a third place position here. I think that's his best out of the heats here with a 4:15 finish.
It's been a devastating heat with more DNFs than finishers on the board. Maybe our lowest number of finishers yet.
Yeah, look at that. We're down to 9. Rough. Well, I mean, we talked about at the end of the last heat about these racers, finally starting to get it together. But it looks like anything is possible here, and you never know what somebody next to you is going to do. There's explosions, there might be frame drops. Again, a lot to think about. Only the most veteran racers are going to really, really show up today and bring it home. All right, and that'll wrap it up for our 5 heats. We're getting ready now for the 3 main events. Well, where our heats were 3 laps, the main events are going to be 6 laps each. So it's a brutal time for these racers, not only testing their skills with endurance, but also trying to keep it together mentally for 6 whole laps. It's going to be interesting to see, and we'll be right back here as soon as the racers get their ships together, take a deep breath, and get back on the starting line. And here we are. Looks like our racers are lined up for the start of main number 1. Again, this is a 6-lap endurance race compared to the heats. The sun is setting really heavily here at Lorville with that thick atmosphere and dense haze that's always around. Visibility at the very least is going to be extremely difficult. We've got a lot of racers who are going to be using reshade to try to cut through the darkness a little bit, and it does help. And you can see here with the light up blips, they've got their headlights on.
Headlights bring pros and cons in this game, so it's a trade-off with very little throw when you think about sitting behind some of those blinding orbs.
And the racers are off. There they go. Boltok cutting back again, his usual strat with Billboy taking front, but Splen taking a nice wide pass here around the dive. What is this move? Meanwhile, we've got Kyrexi and Boltok fighting for second place, but there's a large cluster there. A lot of racers taking wider turns, some taking skinnier turns here, going through Cold Vent. And Sashes is out. He's DNF'd there. Oh, in Cold Vent, you can see it there in the replay. It's awful. Unfortunately, he's the first casualty of main number 1. And again, this is a marathon, not a sprint. DJT Geek is out as well in Cold Vent. Bujinski is out. Some of our newer racers not quite having the experience to keep it together. Kill Redbeard is out as well. They're crashing at Roughneck.
Splen overtaking Boltok here for second place, coming within 20 meters of each other. And did they collide? If so, it was a gentle tap as they fly through chain hand. Billboy going high over Nino's resignation and Splen cutting underneath.
That's right. And here's Splen's point of view. You can see he's got Billboy in his sights. I think he might have just passed him for first place here.
Splen on approach to corkscrew here, pushing the G's, nearly blacking out again.
Billboy, I'm sure, looking to take that place back. We'll see what happens right now. Splen in first, Boltok in second, and Billboy in third. Look at those G-stress, the load up.
Some risky moves there by Splen, but showing incredible control.
Yes, indeed. Okay, here we go. And he's wrapping up lap number 1 of 6. There's a long way to go. Anything could happen, but for now, I'm sure he's enjoying that first place. Meanwhile, Billboy's point of view, you can see here with the reshade, coming around the bend. No Splen in his sights. They must be right on top of each other. Oh, there they are. Yep, and he's in a cluster right now, battling with Boltok and looking to take Splen's spot. And trying to take those turns, you can notice he's taking it a little higher, a little wider, definitely leaving a lot of room for other racers to move in. Here they are in Sunset Straight, even though the sun is pretty much mostly set at this point. Splen still in first place by a narrow margin, followed by Boltok. Kyrexi now making his way up there. Billboy falling a little bit behind Boltok now. Not sure what's happening there. We'll see what happens. Boltok definitely making his presence known, showing some of that old veteran skill. And Kyrexi not out of the fight yet for fourth place. And the gap behind the top 4 is a little bit wide, but we've got battles happening on back there as well.
Boltok retaining his position now. Billboy battling Kyrexi for second place. Along with Boltok, it's a cluster.
That's a little bit of a dangerous situation to be in. Everybody trying to make moves at the same time. We could end up with some fiery explosions. And Splen and Billboy taking very different routes around Corkscrew. Where are they going to end up? We'll see. It looks like Splen did pull out in front. And then we've got Boltok right on top of him. Billboy and Kyrexy right behind. Wow, some change-ups in the positioning here, but Splen taking the first place position, exiting lap number 3.
Billboy going wide on dive right now, taking a more direct route to escape the chaos.
That's right, yeah. I mean, that's a viable strategy. Honestly, like, you know, staying wide of the other racers is just as important as trying to be fast. You want to delicately balance it, though, because staying off of your lines is not good for your muscle memory.
Absolutely.
Here they are going across the start of Sunset Straight, coming out of Cold Vent. We've got our top 4. You can see those little lights, those blips in the distance. That's their headlights. Makes it easy for these camera people to track them for sure. Fresh, one of our top contenders in 5th place this time. We'll see if he can make some moves and possibly take advantage of any collisions that might happen here in our top 4. Splen and Boltok battling neck and neck. Don't know if Splen can see him in his sights. There's obviously a lot of difference between what the player sees and what the server sees. And here's Billboy's point of view. You can see there is a clear gap between Splen and Boltok, but it's not very big.
Billboy coming up over Nino's resignation, throwing his nose down towards Choke, with Kyrexy close behind him trying to take that 3rd place spot. Splen and Boltok still on top of each other.
These guys are really battling it out. It is an intense fight here, and we've still got 3 laps to go after this. Splen coming around the final turn now. This is Ironsides. Boltok close behind. Here they go, wrapping around that turn. You got to be careful. That geometry is bigger than it looks. Splen's still keeping his first place position. Boltok hungry for it. Unfortunately, Lagos has DNF'd, and Lagos, one of the better racers, certainly for sure, showing first place at the Cutters at the Snake Pit race last month or the month before. I'm not sure exactly where it was, but he's definitely one to watch out for in the future. Splen, meantime, in first place. Boltok close behind. Billboy still eyeing both of them. Now, actually, the gap between Boltok and Billboy has increased. Boltok having good lines this time. Unfortunate result after the heats, but maybe he'll get some points on the board in the main events, which are worth more. Splen still showing first place, coming around Roughneck, going through the ventilation up there, and getting ready to turn around Foreman's office. Kyrexy's out! Oh no, there he goes! Kyrexy is DNF'd. Unfortunate.
That's his 4th DNF of the event.
That is going to hurt his chances of getting on the podium. You definitely don't want to DNF at one of these main events. That's the worst. Billboy's out. No, he's gone. Oh no, and Boltok DNF'd in the same spot. This leaves it wide open for Splen. There's a massive gap between 1st and 2nd place now. Holy cow, there's the replay of Billboy DNFing. Chain Hands claims more victims left and right. It's just like a crematorium down there. Here's Splen's point of view now. He knows he's got wide open spaces. Now he's going to spend that leadership economy, taking a leisurely route around Corkscrew and finishing up lap number 4.
The race certainly isn't over and anything could happen, but it's looking rather good for Splen at this point in main 1.
Lap number 5 starting, and now Splen's biggest contention is going to be back markers. He's going to be coming up on the slower racers that weren't necessarily a problem in the shorter 3-lap heats. Looks like Connor and Samtastic getting close to each other. I think that might be a back marker, but they're colliding. No! Samtastic and Connor collided, and it looks like at least Samtastic's out. Don't know if Connor is able to kind of keep it together and pull out of that, maybe limping his way out. Oh, what's going to happen, Connor? Looks like he's alive. Definitely might be missing some geometry, though.
And here we are back with Splen in pole position, shooting out a cold vent into Sunset Straight, the sun nowhere to be seen on this dark night. Splen has a massive lead in first place coming up to the first back marker. It looks like he'll have to contend with Secretus as they make their way around Foreman and down to Chain Hands.
Sakura is in 7th place, which makes you wonder just how many people are dead right now. Seems like it's a massacre if there's only that many racers on the track, with a lot of the top racers completely out.
Fresh is still one of our main competitors, holding 2nd place as he comes around Roughneck, several seconds behind Splen.
Splen getting ready to go down through Chain Hands. Taking it slow, you can tell there's a more leisurely pace now. Spending what I like to call, again, leadership economy. You've got a lot to spend here, a lot of gap between yourself and 2nd place. Gives you the opportunity as a racer to take it slower, take it safer. Allow that gap to shrink with the trade-off that you don't have to get so close to your turns. You don't have to take it so dangerously. It looks like we've got Splen really close to Sacratus here. This is going to be, he's got to take it carefully here and not make a silly mistake. and lose his first place position because he couldn't pass a back marker. And here's the point of view from Fresh. Again, a really good racer, one of the top time trial contenders for sure. He's got his night vision on, and he's our second place finisher.
We're on the final lap. Lap number 6 has started, and we can see Splen's POV here, approaching Dude 3D now, the next back marker holding 6th place. Fresh holding on to 2nd place. I can imagine the gap between 2nd and 3rd is just as large, if not larger, than the gap between 2nd and 1st.
Meanwhile, we've got Splen taking it nice and slow through Sunset Straight here, not really pushing it too hard, not taking that turn as tight as he could have. Fresh, on the other hand, taking it a little bit tighter, definitely not looking to close all of that gap in the final lap. Kind of silly to make those mistakes. Be happy with the 2nd place, take those points. That's what I would be doing in his position.
Splen is now past Dude 3D. He's past his 2nd back marker as Fresh flies through stacks and looks down across to Chain Hands. Fresh keeping that skane gap. Doesn't look like he's closing anytime soon, but he might have Dude 3D to contend with.
Still got to take it slow and careful through Chain Hands. Oh, Dude is out. Unfortunately, that's our 6th place position. He's out. Camera's going to be moving back to Splen here. Let's see what's happening. Splen going up through Corkscrew. Again, not exactly time trial pace here, as you would expect. He's still got a lot of gap between himself and Fresh. He's going to use it. A nice, slow and safe pace, wrapping up lap number 6 here of main number 1. There he goes across Ironsides, coming up to the start-finish, and he's done. That marathon is over. Fresh just passing 2nd place now, so you can tell there's a 3 to 4 second gap between them. Rather massive in such a short circuit race. Speedweed's taking 3rd place, and Ordito finishes in 4th. We've got our final racers on the track here. You can see Speedweed there going across Corkscrew, Ordito right behind him. At least they're in those places. I'm sorry they haven't finished yet, but they're looking to finish. It looks like it's gonna be that way. Unless Speedweed makes a horrible mistake here. There he goes. Up, it's pretty much open space now. Up to the start finish. These 2 racers will be taking Speedweed on the podium, and Ordito just missing it with 4th place. Excellent showing from those racers. Meanwhile, we've got Connor, definitely damaged, still keeping it together though. After that collision earlier, he's in 5th place, and Sacratus will take 6th place right behind him. So an excellent finish from such a brutal race for these racers, especially the new ones who have survived. And that's right, and here's our final results. Looks like we've got Splen in 1st place, Fresh in 2nd, Speedweed in 3rd, Ordito in 4th, and then Connor Risnick bringing up 5th. We've only got Sacratus in 6th, and that's it. So we have 6 finishers. That is the lowest I've seen so far. That is absolutely devastating for a lot of these racers who didn't even make it out of lap number 1.
Unsurprising given how dark it's gotten. You can see how low the visibility is now that the sun is fully set.
All right, so that's the results from main number 1. We're moving on to main number 2, and this one's going to be dark, folks. I mean, the sun was setting and pretty much gone at the end of main number 1. Now we're in the dark. You can see the stars in the sky, and a beautiful light show. Looks like some white Christmas lights here from our racers on the start line. Same grid position, by the way. This is every single race has the same grid position. But there they go. The race has started. They are off. Wow, look at them coming through the start-finish line here, flying through that smoke. Dramatic shots here at night, and now we're going to see full night vision. And you can see here, even with the night vision, how difficult the visibility is here from Speedweed's perspective. An absolute, oh no, we've got a crash in front. We've got more crashes. Oh no, it's a pileup. Visibility is low for these racers, and it looks like it has taken its toll. We've got Fresh out, Kill Redbeard, Playing Fox, Speedweed, Ordito, and Splen have all DNF'd. Oh my goodness, it's an absolute massacre. That took some of the newer racers, some of the top racers, a lot of the veteran racers are now out of main number 2 before it has even started. Oh my goodness, what a devastating beginning to this race. Here's another replay showing the explosions. Look at the pile up there. Oh, it's a miracle more racers did not crash there with all the explosions knocking the ships around, killing visibility, lowering frame rates. Absolute catastrophe at the start of main number 2. Well, here's the carnage, and here's the results. We've got now Billboy and Kyrexy are survived and are now leading the race in 1st and 2nd place. And here's Connor Risnick's point of view. He has some opportunity here to make up some positions. Oh no, I spoke a little bit too soon. He made a mistake. That's going to cost him a lot of time if he survives. He did. So he blacked out. He has to get back on track now. Hopefully he's able to pull it together and keep it okay for the rest. He might have taken some damage. It looks like he's kind of limping a bit after that brutal pileup at the start of the lap. Meanwhile, it looks like we've got the pack sort of closing in now on Chain Hands.
Oh, and it looks like Connor's having more bad luck. He wasn't able to hold it together and is DNF'd. So everyone moves up the grid around Chainhand now, with some back markers in between.
Billboy now going around Corkscrew. Oh, we can't quite, it's hard to see what's going on. Again, visibility's tough. Looks like they're coming through the start-finish now, so that might not have been Corkscrew, it might have been Iron Hands. Where I'm gonna try to catch up and let you guys know as soon as I know. Here we go. All right, so we got some data coming in. Torch Nova and Dude 3D are now battling for 4th place. This is Torch Nova's point of view. You can see them finishing up Corkscrew in lap number 1. Look at him using the ping to be able to see. He's not using reshade, so this is a method employed by a lot of racers who've had the race at night. Oh no, it wasn't enough. The ping couldn't save him. He crashed at Ironsides, another difficult turn in this race. Meanwhile, going back to the front of the pack, we've got Kyrexy here in 2nd place, looking to try to get some points on the board. Maybe he's going to take first from Billboy. Still about a second gap in between them, and that might as well be an eternity when you've got such a close short circuit race with this many turns. There's still 5 laps to go, though, at least 4.5. Billboy in 1st place, going up to Nino's resignation, down turning. They're both. Oh, Kyrexy took it too close. He's not dead though, but he's going to be losing some position from that unless he becomes an obstacle. Here's Osashes. Doing the flip and burn here, turning around and then pushing upward to go through that turn, going down through the choke. You can see how bright the night vision lights up his point of view, but it still doesn't help too much with the visibility.
And here's Billboy now going up to the start-finish line to start lap number 3. That gap between him and Kyrexy is now widened, with Kyrexy's mistake costing him valuable time.
Here's Wintersoul going around Corkscrew, taking it nice and easy. No problem there, managing the G-forces, but not good enough. He's blacked out. Wintersoul is now, will he DNF? But he survived. No, he's good. Good for him, keeping it together. It looks like he's lined up nicely to go through Ironsides and finish up. Will be lap number 2 for him.
These laps becoming ever more important, as just finishing a race might just result in the points needed for a place on the podium. We can see the racers here from Kaelastar's point of view as they cross the line and dive back around the first corner.
Very dramatic shots once again without any night vision on, just seeing these racers blast through. You can hear the engine screaming as they go through the start finish. And we've got an eye on Billboy now. Looks like he's about midway through lap number 3, going down to chain hands. Here's Osash's point of view. He is battling with Kyrexy now. It looks like they're actually probably in contention for a podium, it looks like, perhaps. Kyrexy has certainly fallen back quite a bit. It might be a 2nd place battle, now that I think about it. Like, there might be that much of a gap between Billboy and 2nd place, just because of all the devastating carnage that's taken place in this main. Osash is taking it a little slower, not quite having the playtime on this course that Kyrexy has. Kyrexy, of course, having a much better qualifying time, qualifying for 3rd place. But he's holding his own. He's going to take advantage of the fact that Kyrexy made a mistake. It looks like Sacratus has unfortunately DNF'd, just got that data in, so he's out. One less racer on an already very thin roster of the remainders from the start of this main. Osash's point of view again. Oh, Dub Blunt's DNF, Bujinski's DNF. Maybe they collided. We are now down to a select few even surviving on this course. And oh, Kyrexy got too low. He took a swim and unfortunately wasn't wearing his floaties. He's out. Down for the count, and that means Osash is, I believe, has 2nd place. I cannot believe it. So Osash is one of the founders of XGR and a veteran racer himself. Not necessarily on this course, though, just using his long-time experience to keep it together, and now has a 2nd place position in lap number 4.
Here's Wintersoul. He blacked out earlier, but he managed to survive. He may still get a good position, just given the small number of races left. Oh, but I spoke too soon, and he's taken that corner just a bit wide, crashing before Cold Vent. How many more upsets can we get?
Here we go, we've got eyes back on Billboy, still in 1st place, taking a pretty leisurely pace around Corkscrew, no real surprise there. He's got back markers around him more so than competition. We got DJ T Geek, he just passed. He's wrapping up lap number 4 here, going around Ironsides and getting ready for lap number 5.
It's the penultimate lap, but that means still 2 more to survive.
And here we got Cyprime's point of view. I think he was a back marker for Billboy. You can see he has a good sight of it. Using an interesting sort of reshade here, a little bit bluish, but it's allowing him, hey, if it works for him, it works for us. He can see just fine. He's going, oh no, he got too low going around Splashdown, the aptly named Splashdown, if I will, and unfortunately DNF'd.
We're now riding along with those Ashes, who passes Cyprime's back marker, and we can see also using some night vision to assist in him navigating the race. Those Ashes pulling up into Splashdown through Cold Vent. The visibility is still pretty bad here, but he's holding himself together for 2nd place. But where is Billboy?
Billboy pretty much on an island by himself, going down through chain hands now. Taking it nice and slow, and why not? You know you've got first place, you know everyone else is dead. Take it easy, get those points on the board, don't do anything surprising.
Billboy following your advice right here, taking a tall line over Nino's resignation, taking it easy and playing it safe as he moves down into choke. He's got to be careful as he passes this back marker on his way up to corkscrew.
There he goes around the corkscrew. Diving down. Looks like the camera's trying to track Billboy, and I think this is where he passes Dude 3D. Yeah, he's passed him. Going around the bend here for Ironsides. And that is lap number 5. One more to go.
One more to go, but still anything could happen on this final lap.
Going down the dive now. From Kalistar's point of view, up at the start-finish, Billboy taking a nice leisurely dive down the dive. Getting ready to turn here on splashdown. Here's Billboy's point of view. This is what it looks like from first place. This is what the eyes of victory look like. Just got to hold it together and be wary of the back markers. In fact, if I was in his position right now, I wouldn't even pass them. I'd just be taking it easy. We'll see what happens. Going down Sunset Straight now, even though there's no sun in the sky. Coming up toward Roughneck, getting ready to make that turn.
And he's taking it slow, not trying to rush as he squeezes up through those pipes.
As you would. Nice wide turn around Foreman's office, going up through stacks, getting ready to dive down into chain hand. Osashes still in second place. You can see now he's just now reaching Roughneck, just to give you an idea of the gap between himself and Billboy, a good 10 to 20 seconds.
Ozash is also taking a higher line, easing his razor wide between Foreman, not cutting it close.
Taking it nice and easy, as you should. This is a huge opportunity for Osashes to get a lot of points on the board. Second place in the main event is a lot of points. I believe it's more points than even getting first in a heat would have been.
Again, Osashes doing a nice careful roll, pulling up to turn carefully around Nino's resignation and not pushing the G's as he brings the razor back down.
And here we have, I believe that is Billboy crossing the finish line. That's it. He's done. First place in main event number 2, and wow, what a catastrophic race that was for so many racers. There's only a handful of them even alive at this point. Here's Osashes, nice, gentle, easy turn across Ironsides and drifting up leisurely for a nice second place finish.
Kalistar here getting another dramatic shot as the racers cross the line, less than a quarter of them surviving. It'll be interesting to see how the final results of the event are affected, as again it's not just points, but finishes that matter. And here we see it's not over yet for Dude 3D and DJT Geek, who still have one lap to complete before they can relax.
And that's it for main event number 2. We've got Billboy in first place with an enormous gap. It looks like 22 seconds ahead of Osashes, coming in second place. Dude 3D in third, amazing, and one of our newer racers able to get a podium spot for this race. And DJT Geek our fourth place, and guess what, folks? That's it. Everyone else DNF. Cyberfox, what do you think?
This was the dark race. It's no joke, especially here at Lawville, where there's a permanent haze that doesn't go away at night.
Yeah, the cloud cover and the low amount of reflections from the sun or any other stars in the sky makes it a very dangerous place to be. Now, granted, there are some lights on the track, but not enough to save the vast majority of these racers today. And we're back here for the exciting conclusion of Black Star's underground race here with the oil rig takeover. Here we are, we're starting the race off. Oh, we've got a collision right off the bat. We've got Kyrexy and Boltok colliding. Oh no, 2 of our top contenders out immediately. Unfortunate.
The race is coming down to Splash, and here we have Fresh, Splen, and Billboy in front. We've got Fresh and Splen right on top of each other, and no, Splen's been hit. It looks like his race is over as he DNFs.
Don't know what happened to Fresh. We'll see from the replay here. Oh, Fresh doesn't look like he even felt it. He just keeps on going. So Splen essentially got run over, and Fresh in first place now with Osashes here in fourth place. And then we've got Playing Fox, Kill Redbeard, Billboy in fifth. So something happened at the front there. Maybe he saw something he didn't like and decided to hold back, but it looks like he might have had the right idea. Maybe that collision between Boltok and Kyrexy was enough to set him off. We just saw Sacratus DNF there. Unfortunately, he went too low, hit the water, and he'll be out for the final race today. Fresh still holding that first place position. Here's, Ardito just DNF'd right in front of the Speedweed once again. Speedweed avoiding death, but Lagos is out. Crashing coming up to Stacks. Unfortunate for him. So the racers' numbers are starting to dwindle, and we're not even out of lap 1. Torch Nova's out too. Unbelievable. These racers, we've got 6 laps, folks. Hold it back. Got a long time to go here. It is a marathon, this race. You got at least 5-6 minutes on the track.
Following Fresh here, coming over the bend for Corkscrew, still in first place, followed by the survivors Billboy and Ozashis as they head down and through Ironsides. We're getting another DNF notification, this time for Baginski, who is out unfortunately.
And there goes Fresh across the start-finish. Beautiful sweeping pass over across those smoky stacks up there. Billboy, it looks like he's gotten back to second place, so Sash is really close to him. I wouldn't say exactly that they're fighting. It looks like Billboy's come across and passed him. Playing Fox here is battling for Speedweed in fifth, but he collides! Oh, and they're both out! Speedweed and Playing Fox are DNF'd. Unfortunate. So that dive there has taken at least 3 racers. Splend, Speedweed, Playing Fox. Splashdown's no joke, and it has shown itself.
Billboy here gaining on Fresh, trying hard to get to first place.
The gap is closing, but there's still a long way to go and certainly a lot of laps to go. Billboy has definitely shown his mettle in the time trials. Fresh, I believe, finished in 4th or 5th in the time trials. So there is obviously a lot of opportunity here for Billboy to put that to the test, show these time trial lines off, and close the gap.
These moments could put either of them at the top of the standings.
Fresh going through the choke, Billboy directly behind, Billboy pulling up in the Corkscrew. Meanwhile, we've got Side Prime a little bit farther back now, just going through stacks. And heading down toward Chain Hand, you can see Wintersoul, Connor Risnick in front of him, taking that wide, smart line across Chain Hands, not risking the chains themselves. Getting through the 3rd position and pulling up, and he's good to go. Up to Nino's Resignation. Oh, a little bit too close, unfortunately, and crashes at Nino's.
The leaders have just started on their 3rd lap with Fresh in pole position, followed closely by Billboy. You can see these racers heading over the first corner to dive there, heading down to Splash.
Fresh taking the right turn into Cold Vent with Billboy. Now you can see the gap has narrowed. Billboy has some opportunity here to get another first place finish. Not even sure if he needs it at this point with the points he has on the board, but he's working his way up. Fresh knows it. Fresh might be feeling the pressure. Fresh trying to keep it together. Maybe going to let it happen and settle for a second place finish. Don't know if it's going to make a difference for the final stats at this point.
Billboy and Fresh are probably full of anticipation. With several pole finishes under their belt, they'll be eager to complete this final main while trying to steer clear of any potential upsets.
Meanwhile, we've got Billboy's point of view here. He's keeping on the pressure on Fresh, and again, I think Fresh is going to start feeling it here, especially once he starts closing the 200, 100 meter mark. Right now, he's got about a half click between himself and Fresh. That equates to about a second when it comes to the speed of these ships.
Ozash is here, still clinging on to 3rd place. Kill Redbeard close behind him as they enter choke and follow up onto Corkscrew, which has claimed so many victims.
There's Osash is taking a nice conservative line up to Corkscrew. Unfortunately, he got a little bit too close maybe, and he is out. And leaders have just started lap number 4. It looks like Billboy and Fresh are right on top of each other at this point. You can see Billboy there is at the outside with Fresh on the inside. And there's Fresh taking the inside turn. Billboy taking it a little more conservatively, but it's not slowing them down too much. The gap between them is less than a second at this point.
Fresh just needs to finish this race to secure 2nd place, and still he's taking this corner tight to give Billboy a run for his money.
You can see there's only 300 meters between them, less than a second to go, especially with the top speeds of this ship reaching up in the 500s if you got a long enough straight. Billboy taking a lot of G-stress there, definitely going to, might have affected his line. But this might be where he tries to put the moves on his closing. 100 meters. He's keeping that 100 meter gap between them in such a dangerous turn. Fresh extending a bit. And there they go through Chain Hands. Fresh extending his lead there, boosting up to Nino's Resignation. What does Billboy have planned here? Billboy might be saving his boost for the end of the race. He's let that gap grow once again. He might have just made a couple mistakes. Fresh having a great lap here.
You can see Billboy taking that turn really tight there with Fresh going wide, but is it enough to catch up?
Looks like Billboy is still right behind Fresh. We've got about 200 meters between them.
Both racers have made their way through Ironside safely, heading on up to the start-finish line.
And they're starting lap number 5, still 2 laps to go. And there they go, diving down the dive, getting ready for the turn into splashdown. Kyrex is still in front, taking that tighter line. Billboy likes to take it wide in these races. Pretty smart move considering how dangerous that turn is. About the same gap between them as last time, maybe a little bit less. Billboy might be trying to close those final hundreds of meters now. And here they come around the bend on Sunset Straight up into Roughneck. Fresh first. Billboy close behind. Looks like Fresh might have delayed that turn a little more than Billboy. That's an opportunity for Billboy to catch up, and he's right on top of him now, going around Foreman's office.
And up through stacks, Fresh and Billboy less than 100 meters apart on an otherwise empty track, going down to chain hand.
Chain hands, this is where you don't want to do anything silly. Probably not going to pass him here. Not going to lie. It's a pretty dumb move to do so. But now we're looking at opportunities. Corkscrew, again, might be the best place for him to do it. I have a prediction here. He might be doing it.
Billboy going up to Corkscrew, pulling in tight. Oh, pushing it hard, fighting the darkness as it closes around him. Barely missing a DNF Razor hanging there.
Where's Fresh? Can't see him. There he is, right on top. Only less than 100 meters between them. Oh, and he's going to try to pass now, taking the inside line, and Ironside's blind with Fresh on his backside now. Fresh might have seen that coming and might have had to slow down. Oh, wait, he's not turning. He might. Oh, no, he's made a mistake here. I think he thought he was on the last lap, and Fresh has cut that gap, immediately taking back his first place position. Uh-oh, Billboy's smacking himself now. He shouldn't have done that. He should have just kept on going and waited for confirmation. Now he has to catch up once more with Fresh in a clear first place spot. Still anything could happen here, but it's looking really good for Fresh at this point, getting the gap back that he had back in lap 3. But a back marker, we've got Dude 3D as a back marker for Fresh. He has to take it slower there. Vintersoul's in 4th place, trying to close the gap on Connor Risnick, coming around Corkscrew. Can't quite see Connor in his sights. Oh, he blacked out again! Vintersoul having trouble with the G-force management, and he's underwater and out of the race. Unfortunate. That leaves clear spaces and wide open skies for Connor Risnick to take that 3rd place spot. Meanwhile, we've got Fresh in first still, hoping to secure 2nd place in the standings by at least finishing the race.
He's just gone over Nino's resignation, coming carefully down to the choke and onto Corkscrew.
And there he goes around Corkscrew. No Billboy in sight. I think this is a pretty much done deal for him. Billboy's going to have to settle for 2nd unless. There he is. Billboy coming in fast from behind. Going around Corkscrew. Fresh going around Ironsides. Billboy right behind him. 500 meters or so. Looks like Fresh has kept it together. Billboy maybe with a little boost. Nope, not enough. Too little, too late. Fresh takes first. Billboy in 2nd place at the end of main number 3.
This angle showing the 3 remaining racers. Don't be fooled by the camera markers.
Meanwhile, we've got Connor Risnick in 3rd. Again, not too much action happening around him, with Vintersoul having crashed at the end of lap number 5.
This is Connor Risnick in 3rd. After Connor, there's Dude 3D in 4th, followed by Dub Blunt in 5th. And that's it, with no other racers on the track. Only these 3 left.
Everyone else is dead. Absolutely brutal race for these racers today.
Dude 3D crossing under Connor, coming out of cold vent. Still a ways to go yet.
Here's Connor Risnick going around Ironsides, pulling up the turn there, nice and easy, and finishing up his lap. Very well done. We still got a couple racers on the track, but they're so far apart from each other, it's pretty much just a Sunday drive for these guys, wrapping up their positions. And that'll be it for our takeover from Black Star Underground.
Well, that brings us to the end of a dramatic and deadly final main. I can't believe that so few racers actually crossed the line, with those left finishing very close to each other for their respective positions.
As the saying goes, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Those completing the sprint were Fresh in 1st, Billboy in 2nd, Connor Risnick in 3rd, Dub Blunt in 4th, and Dude 3D in 5th. With these big main events being 6 laps, it takes determination and careful piloting to see you through to the end.
Half of the sheet here didn't even make it past the first lap. So absolutely devastating for a lot of these racers, but there was a total of 8 races today, so that means points need to be accumulated, and let's get our final results. So here's our final standings. We've got Billboy in 1st place with 140 points and quite a commanding lead. It's the veterans. It just goes to show you that when you put in the time and you put in the practice, you're going to do great things.
That's right, those elite time trialers filling up the top half of this leaderboard. Fresh in 2nd with 112 points, followed by Splen in 3rd with 84. And then the gaps start getting a lot tighter with just 20 points separating the next few. We've got Ozashus with 70, Boltok close behind with 61, and Speedweed and Audito at 6th and 7th with 55 points each. Our top 10 rounding off with Kyrexi at 8th with 40 points, Dude 3D in 9th with 33 points, and Kill Redbeard in 10th with 32 points.
So there we are, and again, pretty much nothing but veterans at the top all the way up to 6th place. There are all a lot of very familiar names, including Speedweed, Boltok, Audito in 7th. These are all names that have been on the scene before.
All these names having put on a great spectacle for us today, showcasing not only their skill, but offering an inside look at the Star Citizen racing scene. It's not often we get to ride along at breakneck speed, so I want to extend our thanks to everyone who provided footage and helped put this together. And thank you, Splen, for your incredible commentary, keeping us in step with the drama of the event from a professional racer's perspective as it unfolded.
Thank you very much, CyberFox, for this invitation and opportunity to do this. And of course, thank you everyone out there at XGR for allowing us to host these exhibition races and really giving us the templates to test our mettle out here and really show the world what the racing community here in Star Citizen's all about.